Hi, welcome back to my channel. It's so great to see you. My name is Caitlin. I make Christian lifestyle, reading content, all that kind of stuff. So if it sounds nice, check out this video. Make sure to like, comment your favourite book of the month, and subscribe for more content. So March was a good reading month for me. I feel like the end of last year I kind of fell into a reading slump. But what I want to do if I read enough books every month is to do like a monthly book recap, what I've been reading, what I enjoyed, what I didn't enjoy, and all of that. I love reading, both non-fiction and fiction. I like a bit of balance of both. And I read 5 books in March, which is pretty good for me. I used to be like that, and then you get older and life happens and you get responsibilities and a job, and I can't do everything, but March has actually been a pretty decent reading month. So the first book I read, I don't have the physical copy of because a friend lent it to me. So this is what it looks like. I will edit that in. So it's called The Clockmaker's Daughter by Kate Morton, and this book was phenomenal. 5-star, highly recommend. I've so far read 2 of her books, and both of them are easily on my top 20 books of all time. Like, she's a phenomenal writer. Basically this book is read in a couple of different time periods, and it's of the context of a person in today's time kind of finds out some sort of mystery from her family's history or something that she's kind of involved in, and it'll tell you this like mystery drama historical fiction over a few different time periods and character point of views, to climax at the end where you finally solve the mystery of what's going on. Some of it's a bit dark, but it's funny and it's light and it's got romance and drama, and it's just amazing. Like, it's so good. I've never read anything quite like her work before, and the way she weaves characters and timelines together is phenomenal, and you really get a glimpse of the characters and who they are. And so this particular one is based around the clockmaker's daughter, her story, and I can't go into it too much without spoiling, but I highly recommend if you're into that kind of stuff. Amazing book, really thoroughly enjoyed it. The next book I read was one I've been reading kind of throughout February and March, but I finished it mid-March, is The Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis. So this book was, I think I made it a 4-star book. It was so interesting, so insightful. I learned so much, and it really has changed the way I think about things. So this book is a book that C.S. Lewis wrote for Preliminary, J.R.R. Tolkien, the author of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and it was written from the perspective of this senior demon to his nephew, a new demon, about how they kind of attack the minds and actually do like the work of demons in human society. It was an incredible insight into culture, politics, religion, the schemes of the devil, and genuinely has me questioning a lot of like thoughts that come into my brain, like, is this me, or is this a temptation, or is this God? Like, it has really transformed the way I see why culture is the way that it is, how it's going. I mean, this was written in the early mid-1900s. I think it was just after or during the First or Second World War, around that time. And his predictions in this book for what culture would be like, it is like that. Highly recommend if you want an insight. So interesting to read, so thought-provoking and challenging. Obviously fictional, it's a conversation he wrote, but C.S. Lewis, he writes a letter at the back of this book, and he says this is one of the darkest things he's had to ever write, because he tried to get into the mind of a demon and all of that stuff, and he was like, it was really difficult, but honestly, incredible. I highly recommend everyone who knows God should read this book because it's so insightful. Yeah, so 4-star for that one. The next book I read on my Kindle, and it's Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. This is a really popular book on TikTok at the minute, and it's kind of gone viral. My sister recommended that I read this book, and I just recently got a new Kindle, so and with 3 months of Kindle Unlimited, so I was like, I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity and read this book. And I kind of was in the mood with a light-hearted romance. I gave this book a 3 stars. So the characters were really interesting. I found them intriguing and not very shallow. I think sometimes in romances the characters can be shallow. They had a lot of depth to them, and I thought the plot was so interesting. I didn't see a lot of it coming. I thought it was very well progressed, nicely paced, very well done. This book is quite spicy, so if you're not into that, definitely stay away. But I just found the dialogue to be a bit meh. Like, I think if the dialogue was better, this probably would have got 4 stars. But it was just a lot of the lines were repeated, a lot of the conversations they had were repeated, and like the character would have one thought one page and then have that exact same thought the next page, and I just felt like it was a bit repetitive and a bit like, you kind of said that, move on. But other than that, other than like those dialogue-y things, it was an okay story. It was a good romance, kind of your traditional enemies to lovers trope, with a bit of family drama and politics thrown in there. So very much enjoyed. I would recommend. Just it's not for me. Wasn't the best book I've ever read in that genre. The 4th book I read this month was a book that I can't believe I didn't read when it came out, and that's A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J Maas. This has been on my TBR list since I heard about it because, as you can see from this half of the shelf, I really rate Sarah J Maas. She hooked me when I was 16 into Throne of Glass, and I have not stopped reading every book she's ever put out since then. But for some reason I just didn't read this book straight away. So I've, over the last 5-ish months, I've reread the whole A Court of Thorns and Roses series so that I had all of the details in my brain when I went into this. This is phenomenal. I can't say too much about this book, but because this is the 4th book in the series, but basically the concept is, it started out as a Beauty and the Beast retelling, as high fantasy with fae in this country that's kind of been war torn and taken over. This human girl goes and accidentally kills a fairy, gets taken into fairy lands, and finds that there's a curse across the land, and she has to kind of navigate that, and there's drama and love and so much tension. The books get smuttier and spicier as they go on. This, to be honest, was a little bit too much for me. I did have to skip through a few pages. I don't mind a little bit of smut, but this was a bit too much for me. But I really enjoyed it. Nesta is a character that I wasn't too keen on. She never really was one of my favourites in the other books, but actually getting to know her a bit more and seeing things from her perspective, I thought was so cool. So this book is about Nesta's journey. And without going into spoilers, wow, blew me away. The ending, the camaraderie and friendship and development of the plot, all of it, fantastic. Family drama, politics, fairies, magic, drama, war, everything you could ever need in a book is in this. There were so many moments where I just like, if I was like laying down a little bit, I'd be like, and like sit straight up, because her writing is phenomenal. I know she's a very debated author at the minute, but I really rate Sarah J Maas. 5-star book. Very excited for the next one. Highly recommend. And then the 5th and final book I read this month was Audible, so I listened to it. So I obviously don't have a physical book, but it was Loveology by John Mark Comer, another theological non-fiction book. This I thought was interesting. I liked a lot of his viewpoints. I liked what he has to say. I quite like John Mark Comer as an artist and an author and someone to listen to and learn from. I've read a lot of his other books. Found it very interesting. He made a lot of good points. Not the best one he's ever done. I give it 3 stars. For me, I think if I would have read this when I wasn't married and I was a bit younger, I probably would have appreciated it more. But it kind of didn't have much, I don't want to say relevance, because I don't read non-fiction books for the relevance, but I don't know, I thought it was okay. I enjoyed it, but it hasn't like changed my life like his book Live No Lies. That is just a few shelves up because my bookshelf is overflowing. Live No Lies, that revolutionised the way, again I think, and the way I kind of intercept lies that are in my brain. So yeah, I think I gave that 3 stars. So overall, it's a very good reading month. I'm very excited to dig into April. Me and some friends are actually starting a book club this month. So I've got book club book of the month to read. And I think the first book I'm going to dive into is going to be Layla by Colleen Hoover. I'm going to start this. I'll probably fly through this in a couple of days. But yeah, again, my sister really wants me to read this book, and this is actually her copy. So I'm going to read it while I still have it. But yeah, so that has been my March reading recap. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you like reading, what your favourite book was this month that you read. And yeah, hope to see you in the next one. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you soon. Goodbye.